Okay, we're live now, just so you know.
Yes, we're talking about drugs.
Yeah, we are talking about drugs, indeed. Drugs in D&D. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're
Well,
interesting.
that's what one of the D.
At least.
It's what one of the D stands for.
Drugs and Dragons.
Or Dungeons and Drugs.
Dungeons and Drugs.
That sounds like a good title.
Drunks and Drugs. Just sounds like any major city in the world, really. Drunks and Drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Sure does.
Anyway. So yes,
Those
hello.
are two separate things, but they have one is much more cataclysmic than the other.
Exactly. Anyway, hello everybody and welcome to Crabby D&D. This is the Dawnseekers, my regular Sunday D&D. Unfortunately, we do not have Sasha because unfortunately Harlan is having Discord issues. I have sent technical support and please send your thoughts and prayers to Sasha. And Sam is tired. Aww. So he's decided he's gonna go to bed and not play D&D instead. So
Little baby Sam.
yes, little baby Sam.
Any energy?
I don't understand how people don't have energy. Like, come on, all he does is sit around all day like me. Like, he also
I think
goes
that's
to
called
work
depression.
like me. Look, at least I've learned to handle it.
I still haven't managed that.
It's fine. That's what D&D's for. So,
Depression and Dragons.
depression and drugs. So, with that little bit out of the way, forewarning, the intro is a relatively long one this week because we are going over quite a bit of the time skip, but that's perfectly fine. Regular announcements. Thank to Zenosa for the art. I'll be getting more of these soon. These basic tiles. I'll be getting one for rough terrain because I haven't actually got one yet. So I'll be getting one for that, which will be fairly useful. And I also have another few things down the line which I may or may not need for soon in either of the campaigns. As some of you may have seen in the Thursday campaign, we almost lost another player right before his main story arc was about to hit. So that was fun. And then another one of the players almost died as well, which was also fun. So yeah, an all-round good session where people almost died because of my inability to judge how powerful they are with one less member in the party. So yeah, that was fun. Other things to note. Thank you to Dungeon Page Studio for allowing me to make maps like this. This is the updated tavern from last time. They made a few changes. They've added a few things. You can see that there is the pantry up here. They have added, Sudz came across some money and proceeded to purchase this lower down here where he can grow some more plants. Queglod now has an enchanting room, and I believe that's everything you worked on. Yeah, you didn't want to buy anything else. You didn't want to spend any more money on it just in case.
We do also have. No, sorry, I was talking. Forgot to mute my mic.
Okay. So there's that updated so people know. Thank you to incarnate.com, of course, for allowing me to make a map like this, and also to surprisingly for all of you, Tabletop Audio. For the free service they provide. Online browser support, you can make sounds, or you can make general music for your D&D. You can take the pre-made tracks, you can proceed to play them as you see fit. You can play some sound effects along with them. The sound of a beholder moving around or shooting an eye laser. Or you can get a dragon to attack if you want to do that and you want to mess up your players. Free service, good to use, do recommend using it. And obviously, because of the unfortunate side, I have spoken to the owner of Tabletop Audio. Unfortunately, they haven't got a method for implementing personal music to it, so you can play it through the same system, which does mean that I will be playing it through my own methods. I will be playing the Battle for Wes North music, which is open source. I recommend you go check it out. And that is everything. So, without further ado, let us get into this regular intro of D&D. So, last session, our party of adventurers, Sasha, Queglod, Elsyan, Bhold, Malcom, and Ghaakt, spent their time performing their own tasks. Malcom spoke to the Phoenix officials, some of their allies, and some of their allies, before heading underground with Bhold to kill some stalagmites for their meat, using this meat and preparing it to test the cooks, which they'll be hiring in a few days. While there, Bhold discovered an old sunken temple, which maintained a form of worship to an unmarked god by some strange fish-people creatures. Taking the rusted strongbox from there, Malcom fled with Bhold and left the underground, before discovering what was inside. And with no one in their party to use it, Malcom sold the old artifact to the underground with a bountiful reward of around 4,000 gold. He then spent some time in the mountains, gathering different parts for any future projects, before returning home. Bhold partook in the helping of Malcom, before confronting his main foe, an orcish woman who challenged him to an arm wrestle in the Undercity. With the best of 3 well fought, Bhold crumbled with a humiliating 2-0 loss. With this in his mind and the need for a good fight, Bhold took to the fighting pit, challenging all who would dare take his challenges for the remainder of the time, often returning home with bruises and burns on his body, but learning more about his place and being looked up as a worthy opponent to most. I am getting a little bit of echo from someone. I think it might be you, Will.
Yes.
Sasha spent most of her time around town, helping out those in need while often putting her own efforts towards blacksmithing for the local district. Sasha met with the local people and worked for free, making horseshoes, nails, and other tools. The craftsmen and women thanked Sasha and attempted to pay her, but she simply returned the money, telling them to grab a drink at the Shrouded Chalier, and left them to their business each day. While doing this, she felt compelled to speak to Obble again, and upon doing so discovered they were leaving town that day. Obble and the others departed for the mountain range, heading southeast along the base of the Skycar mountain range before turning and ascending the mountains. Elsyan had an easy time, relaxing, dining, and meditating on what he knew. Elsyan kept in contact with those he trusted and proceeded to mull over the information he now had. He concentrated on his mother and discovered her current intention was to remain out of the political warfare in the Elven kingdoms, and that she was simply biding her time, relaxing best he could. Elsyan took to walking through the streets, avoiding the attention and scraping minds of those around him for any flakes of information about his mother, with a darker turn consuming his routine as her shadow loomed over him once more. Queglod was a busy bee during her time. Going and speaking to some allies of hers, she learnt of some new methods of enchanting and developing her skills as such. Over the several days she experimented with different pieces of material, discovering their true potential and harnessing her ability to manipulate the enchantments in various ways. Queglod acquired a few tomes of knowledge on this field over that time, a compiling of her notes which she would use to store her findings. Ghaakt, a little bit more out of place compared to the rest of the party, spent some time working on the music he had acquired, and learnt them as best he could, even though they were from this strange land that he had recently fallen upon. With some time to spare, Ghaakt went to watch Bhold in the fighting pit, and listened to a few short tales while Bhold was resting. Using this inspiration, Ghaakt began to write short stories that eventually evolved into the ideas of sagas, where his natural talent and growing mind had reached a few times before. And now, with this time spent on this, Malcom collapsing on the floor before shrugging off the rest of the party to go to think, the cooks and the bar hands begin to arrive. So, quick sound test, because I apparently forgot. Malcom.
Hello.
Queglod.
Hello.
Ghaakt.
Hey.
And Bhold.
Hello. I like
Alright.
my last place.
Yep, you still have your last place. So yes, as you're all sat round, you are preparing for your new individuals to arrive. You sit there eagerly awaiting the approach of these new individuals. You've set up in the kitchen, Malcom. You've laid out the kitchen as best it is. You've taken the stalagmite meat and you've laid them out in chunks on various chopping boards and made sure that they're all in place for what's about to take place, as well as collected the various antitoxins and you've prepared them for the chefs to use in the preparation of the meat itself. You've laid out the table. Pulled a few tables together and laid out a series of chairs to form your judges, Ghaakt, Bhold, and Queglod, who will all be sat down preparing to receive their meals from the bar hands swiftly, and also to receive their general meals from the cooks to see how appetizing they are. With this, you remain within the main room. You finally return, being eagerly watched by Sasha to see if any further developments occur. As you're all there waiting, you hear the first knock on the door.
Somebody, door.
Yes, I'll go and answer the door.
Okay. Going and answering the door, you see what looks to be... you open the door to someone same height as you, a halfling woman. Relatively... She doesn't look too old. She looks maybe in her mid-60s or so, from what you know. You recognize this because you have read some of the notes on this, that this is Seath Legit. And she seems to arrive. She wears what looks to be a regular kind of white shirt, kind of dark trousers, and a pinny or apron on her front. You can see that she has what looks to be uneven copper hair that kind of curls in almost a wiry fashion, and she has what looks to be faded blue eyes as she smiles at you and goes, "Oh, why hello there.
Hello.
This is the place I was told to, or this is the place I applied to for the cooking application?"
The cooking application. Yes, come on in. Let me show you around.
And you bring her in. She has a quick look around. She sees Zuvin. She seems a little bit shy for what she is, but she does seem to kind of nod and makes notes. And she kind of looks around. She sees the... currently on duty at this time, you would have... I believe you would have Vardra? No, you'd have Penniver, because... Oh no, Penniver is the... she does the bar shift, so this is the early opening hours, so it would be Vardra. You have Vardra on shift. She's currently sat around waiting. Zuvin is obviously behind the bar, preparing for the early morning, making sure everything's set up. You lead her in, and eventually she meets Malcom in the kitchen.
Okay. Yes, Malcom here will be running the test for today. We want to get a sense of your capabilities.
I see. I look forward to working to see what you've got. Are there any more who'll be arriving?
From what I noticed, 4 more shown up, right?
Yeah. At this moment, there are a few more knocks as people begin to arrive. Next, you see what looks to be a tabaxi. He has a relatively round face, short-cut black fur. It looks to have been self-cut. It's a little bit rugged in places, but it's overall relatively smooth cut. He has short or kind of small, close-together eyes, very much similar to that of a kind of a predator. He has what looks to be a mat of fur that kind of falls down in front of his head, kind of like a diagonal fringe almost. He wears patched-up clothing and a simple leather apron on his front, which has a few implements hanging from his belt. What looks to be 2 knives and a set of tongs and spatula and so on, in preparation for this job. They don't necessarily look the cleanest, but he looks like he's prepared for this. The next individual to arrive is the human. Oh, by the way, that's Brute of Iron, the tabaxi. Folky Humel is the next one to arrive, the human. You see what looks to be relatively tall human. He has rugged hair. It's kind of auburn in color, and he has dark green eyes. He wears well-made clothes overall, with what looks to be just some. He seems to have made it almost like formal wear for this kind of occasion. He wears what looks to be numerous rings, and I would say, Ghaakt, you're probably the only one who recognizes these. Each of the ones on his fingers represents a different school of magic. with your bard.
Bhold
bard
would totally know this.
Yeah, Behold notices the rings. He just doesn't know what they do, or if they're special.
Shiny.
Anyway. Yeah,
It
exactly.
would hurt if you punched someone with those.
Yes.
Hmm.
I leave the evocation symbol on your face. Anyway, next to arrive, following that, you see a half-orc walk in. He has dark, thinning hair, which has like a deep crest into a widow peak along his hairline. He has a relatively rounded face, but with a pointed chin that supports kind of a salt and pepper goatee, seemingly partially dyed or faded in certain places. He has clipped tusks with what look to be metal caps over the ends to prevent them from growing. And he also wears like simple brown trousers with a yellow shirt and white waistcoat. He isn't wearing an apron or anything like the others are. And last but not least, you hear this booming kind of knock on the door.
Well,
Behold's interested.
Okay. Who opens the door?
I'll go to the door unless someone else would like to join me.
You pull the door open, you look up, and you see about 7 feet or so tall. This figure ducks in through the door. Immediately, what you see is plate armor. They're wearing what looks to be large sets of plate armor that cover their entire body. They have a mild grey tint to them. The individual stands at about a little under 7 feet tall. There's no real indication of gender, age, or anything. You can't see their face. You can't see anything. All you can see that's strapped to their back is a massive dark steel frying pan that's about 3 to 4 feet in diameter. He just walks in, kind of nods, hands a small piece of paper over to you, and it looks like it's his application, where all the fields are blank, with the exception of his name, which is Angus.
yeah.
Hmm. Right, you must be here for the chef's position as well. Come on in. I'll
Gives
show
a
you
nod.
the kitchen.
He walks to the kitchen, he kind of ducks and he twists to get through the door properly.
Okay.
And at one point he has to take his frying pan off to fit through the doors properly as he heads through and into the kitchen. You see now you've got all the individuals here.
It's like the chef version of me.
As you take Angus into the kitchen, Ghaakt and Bhold, while you're waiting to see what happens, you hear what sounds to be more knocks on the door.
But
Which one of you would like to open the door?
We were just expecting the chefs today, right?
No, the bar
we
hands
were
at the
expecting
same
both.
time, because they're supposed to be waiting on you.
I will
Yeah.
open the door.
Okay. You proceed to open the door. I'm not sure if you're a little bit far away from your mic, or if anything.
Wait, how's this?
There you go, that's better.
That's better, yeah.
There we go.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how far away would be, considering you've heard me from the other side of my room before.
Yeah, true, but it's still quieter. First to knock on the door, relatively kind of a confident knock. You see what looks to be a half-elf. He is well dressed in mostly formal wear. He has what looks to be a ginger buzz cut and a trim chin-strap beard to go with it. He wears a few simple rings on his fingers and has pointed ears to tell of his mild elvish bloodline. He kind of walks in confidently, kind of prepared for this kind of thing. Goes, this must be for the barhand position?
Yes.
I see. Well, I enjoy seeing the rest of the competition. He takes a few steps in. As you're there, and as you're explaining the task to them, Malcom, you proceed to explain to them the initial task, the making of a stalagmite stake, the process of which requires the dousing of the meat in general oil to kind of seep away at some of the surface poisons before proceeding to cook it over a short period of time, applying antitoxin slowly but surely. Where you're more skilled in this, you do this by hand. They begin to look and analyze, some of them almost tricked by it. They proceed to try and figure out how much would go in there. Eventually, one of them asks the tabaxi. He kind of raises his hand and asks how much you're in there. And you say, about half a bottle. With that, some of them proceed to kind of take notes and they make a mental note. Angus, being very out of place here, doesn't move. He doesn't flinch at any of this. He just watches. And as these things take place, you watch as the individuals begin to take down notes. They begin to kind of understand what's going on. Some of them seem to feel like they're a little bit out of their element, as you are very much preparing a very exotic and dangerous dish. And you set this up. You set the scene and you set them about their task. During which, with the cooking of that, I would like you to roll me a cook's utensils check with advantage for home field advantage here. Okay, easy enough. You prepare the steak. It is a little bit less intoxicated than you would have liked it to be. But it's got the spice and bite to it that you want. You feed each of the individuals, they kind of accept it. Angus kind of takes it, puts it on a fork, and just looks at it before he puts it down. Before he puts the fork down on the plate.
Things off about this guy.
With that, you set them about their task, and you make about making your pie, I assume.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and roll a check for your pie, again with advantage due to your preparation and being in a kitchen. Okay.
Yes.
You prepare all the bits you need. You take out the small pips on the inside of the strawberry stones. You begin to slice them into thin slices and lay them out in the various dishes. You put thin custard to go with it as well as the base of it, and you set it all out in preparation for baking. You proceed to put 2 layers of these sliced strawberry stones and custard before putting the top over it, piercing a few holes in to make sure it doesn't burst. You place it in with the heat stones, and it begins to cook. The others also working away. Let's see who would be. Okay, let's start with Angus. I go with Fron. And then we've got Brute, followed by Selther. Wow, high rolls here. Wow. High rolls with everybody except for Fron. The Half-Orc. As much as he's a sous chef, this is a really exotic dish to him, and he has no idea. He measures out the bits and pieces, but you watch as he begins to prepare the steak. He just puts all of the antitoxin in that he needs. So he measures it out, and then he just pours it all on at once rather than a little bit at a time. You see this obvious mistake, and you notice as he's doing it, he makes it, he begins to cook it, and then he kind of turns around and looks back, and he begins to make the mental connection. Almost panicking with now he hasn't got any ingredients, and he begins to try and salvage it, failing to do so due to the nature of what's necessary for this food to be made. With this, you make a mental note of that, and his food is unfortunately ruined in the process. While this is all going on, the others seem to take the notes, and they proceed to make the dishes. The dishes are made effectively with good time, and they are made to a good extent, something that you would generally be acceptable. Something that you do notice while this is all going on, Angus, originally when everybody got to work about laying out the ingredients, you watch as he just stood there and stared at everything. Before he eventually reached over to the meat, placed it down, then grabbed each of his pieces slowly but surely, and almost by eye, without even measuring anything, he proceeds to pour the antitoxin kind of similar to you do, mimicking your actions, mimicking the way you made it. And the way he finishes it up, well, that will come through on the tasting. While this has all happened, the remainder of your bar hands have arrived. You see, next up, after Ricard to arrive, Fredor arrives. Behold, this is particularly interesting to you, as you see this tiny goblin walk in with what looks to be kind of a massive backpack, maybe twice his size, containing pots, pans, ropes, and other implements and bits and pieces. He's kind of got his skin is relatively yellow and orangey, similar to his traveling clothes, which are kind of tatty, very showing that he has been a nomad in the past. He is relatively slim as well, probably a little bit underfed, but he walks in, he kind of asks, mind if I set my things down?
Sure.
He puts his backpack and he kind of leans it up very carefully against the side.
Is he a customer or?
Oh no, he's a bar hand. He's come for the bar hand. He's a
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and he walks in and he kind of sets himself up. You watch as he begins to like take off the outer layer of his traveling clothing and proceeds to put on what looks to be like a basic shirt and something. It's torn in certain areas, but you get the sense that this is what he's had to work with for a long time.
How big is this backpack?
His backpack is about 4 or 5 foot tall.
Okay.
It's about twice his size. He's also 36 years old, so he's got a nice beard to him with a little bit of a grey tufts in areas. For a goblin, he's a little bit about 2/3 into his life cycle. And he's the next one to arrive in this.
You have to teach me about your beard.
A Gramplin.
A Gremplin, yes. Next to arrive after that is a very small kobold. Snow scale, so pure white in colour. She kind of walks in. She stands a little bit shorter than 3 foot, just for general reference. And as she stands before you, her snow scales begin to like glitter, almost as if she's taken very good care of them. Cleanliness is obviously something she's taken very seriously with this. She wears a simple black dress with what looks to be a plain white apron over the front. That seemed with and it looks like it's been handed down almost in her family. She has her hands in front of her, and as she stands there, she kind of smiles, and there's this gleaming smile on her face, with her kind of oval-tipped ears pointing straight up. As she takes a few steps in, she stands there. She does a 20-degree bow, kind of respectfully to all of you before waiting for her task to be given to her, which Queglod or Malcom, you will be the ones leading that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And then finally to arrive is a relatively young and obviously rushed Trisha. Going into her late teens, she's a female human. She walks in. She looks fairly slender, but tall for her age. She has dark brown hair that reaches to the base of her neck. She wears what looks to be a simple iron necklace. She has hands over what looks to be a hand-me-down brown shirt and green skirt. She looks fairly clean, like she's been made for this occasion. She comes in and goes, "Sorry I'm late. Did I miss it?" She kind of looks around waiting for a response from you all.
No, we've just started, actually.
Oh, good. And she kind of straightens herself up, and walks in as well. At which point, Queglod, you return after the cooking has commenced.
Mm-hmm.
You begin to explain the task to them, explaining that they will courier the food from the kitchen all the way through to the judges who will be testing the cooks, during which they must contest with potentially having multiple food or drink at any one time. Zuvin will also be testing this as well and helping with this matter. And they must proceed to bring orders as required. Now, they will be tested on their memory and their ability to learn and understand what gets said at any one time. As this takes place, you begin to test them. Bhold, starting off fairly easily, asking for a simple drink and meat. As this happens, each of the individuals goes to the bar and says what they need, proceeding to take the bits and pieces for it, bring it on their plate and bringing it over. Skill-wise, the majority of them seem to be fairly skilled at this, bringing over the food and drink necessary without much spillage on the first few attempts. The female human, Trisha, seems to be a little bit out of place here. Obviously, she doesn't seem to be very well versed with it. She doesn't hold the plate or the serving tray with much finesse. She kind of carries it. A few dribbles travel down the back of the tankard as she walks along. Something that you all proceed to note. Malcom, at this time, while your pie is cooking, you say to the rest of them to keep cooking for a little bit, and you'll be back in a bit. You head out and you see all of the bar hands currently busy at work, learning. You kind of burst through the doors as you do so, and you kind of announce to them that food will be ready soon. Heading back in, you watch as the servants or the to-be bar hands all move into the kitchen area. They begin to collect up the food as it's made and take it out. So obviously Fron doesn't want his to be taste tested. He knows he's beaten.
Yeah.
With his wasted, he obviously nods and he apologizes for wasting the materials and says, "If you don't want me here for the other tests, I'm more than happy to leave now."
That's okay. I'd still like to see what you got. It is a relatively tough thing to make.
He kind of nods, and the rest of you are brought foods. During this, Zuvin does do a few tests on them to make sure they maintain their composure as they're going through. Sheba, as she's walking through, she carries the dish, and as it gets kind of knocked with Mage Hand, she recovers fairly quickly, kind of unexpecting this kind of thing. She wobbles to go with it, but she makes sure to avoid Sasha when she does so, spinning slightly, taking the dish with her before settling it back upright, walking over and says, sorry about that, and lays the tray on top of the table in front of you, Bhold. You all taste the food. It is nice, crisp. It is very well made and tender. The meat itself is juicy. There is a very sharp sting to it from some of the meats that you eat here. The stalagmite steaks, obviously being made in a very specific way, causes it to be fairly stingy and tangy, but it complements the meat's flavour. And as you taste it, you begin to enjoy it slowly but surely. Queglod, with you, you're given naturally smaller portions.
I'll be right back.
Okay. While this is all going on, the next few come through. Trisha, on her attempt through, she doesn't do too badly. She manages to recover. She does bump into Sasha, apologizes, and then proceeds to carry on and places the dish down on the table. She does seem a little bit kind of out of her depth here. This is obviously her first job from general inspection. Rickard, on his moving through, you watch as he's carrying the plate with the food on it. And as he does, you watch as the tray is tipped, he tries to catch it and recover from it. The food slides off before getting caught on Zuvin's floating Tensen disc, before he brings it over to the table with the plate, and kind of Rickard kind of straightens himself and looks very embarrassed with what just transpired and his inability to recover from it. Fredor, as he brings out his one, he recovers fairly quickly, making sure nothing gets spilt, travelling with it, but does also bump into Sasha as she's standing there. You make notes of this and their general serving. You take the meat, and they all seem really good. Angus's seems exquisite. You're not told whose is whose when you do these testing, but as you kind of bring the marks back, Angus's is flawless. Everything about it is amazing. It has been cooked the right amount of time. There's a right amount of antitoxin in it, and it is perfectly made and synced up.
Angus was the plate guy, was?
Yeah. And you find out that, like, looking it through, Angus has made made this advanced dish perfectly. Maybe even to challenge your own making of it, Malcom.
It's the right amount of antitoxin. I can feel my tongue burning, but, not too much. It's the right amount of burning.
It hurts, but enough.
It hurts, but also it's delicious.
As you proceed to test this, you move on to the second phase, this time focusing on quick orders and efficiency. You focus on making sure they're using the right amount of ingredients, not using too much, but using enough to make the right amount of dishes in a short amount of time. You give them half an hour to make 10 dishes of their choice. They have to be quick, effective, and also very tasty for people to like. Allergies are included. If any of you proceed to have allergies with your character, then they are included and, as a result, dismissed. As they proceed to make these dishes, Fron, feeling the heat from this, unfortunately makes quite a few mistakes again. He kind of, as he begins to he makes the first dish, making it fairly well planned and so on, but as he goes into making the second one for his, which is an identical one of the first, he realizes he hasn't got the time for this, and he begins to rush. As he does, he fails to make the remaining orders, proceeding to get angry with himself as he gets closer and closer to the time before failing, wasting a large portion of ingredients within his rushing. As
Alright. Are the wasted ingredients kind of like salvageable?
They're
for me?
they're salvageable for what you want to do on your final stage, yeah. Angus, on his attempt through, seems to be doing it very methodically. He does ask you one question before he begins, though, and says, "Are we allowed to use our own items for this, or just your ingredients?"
Yes, you can use your own item.
He pulls out the giant frying pan off his back, and you watch as he proceeds to like tap. He taps it on his hand a few times, and you watch as spontaneously within the pan, as it begins to heat up, you see 20 eggs currently frying. You never gave them eggs.
No, I didn't.
And he proceeds to fry them up and proceeds to prepare breakfast bacon buddies, BLTs, and prepares several sauces, and within 5-10 minutes he's finished all 20 dishes. Places them out, prepares them, and they get brought in by the bar hands. With this taking place and going into the bar handing second side of it, as they go through, Sasha and Elsyan proceed to be fairly abusive to the bar hands. Obviously, it is set as it is not set up as a test, and they are fairly angry, as if acting like angry customers. They see their initial reactions. Shiva, realizing that this is a test, acts accordingly, apologetically, and proceeding to be relatively humble, while also proceeding to carry on with her duty without seeming rude. She is fairly effective and efficient at what she needs to do. Next person to finish their dish would be Brute. Brute, as he's making his dishes, he has a lot of waste. He does finish all the dishes, but he has a lot of waste with what he's doing. He seems to be making some more complex dishes, pulling all the bits together, and proceeds to try and make an extravagant meal, but using up a large portion of the ingredients you set out in front of them. You take the dishes in and they prepare, again testing the next person. As this happens, Trisha, who is the next one for this, kind of doesn't take the abuse very well and is relatively shy. Eventually, after a little bit of coaxing out of her shell, she gets mentored on the fact that there will be abusive customers. She kind of picks that up and proceeds to understand. But you see that she found it fairly stressful when it was going through. The next person to finish is Folky. With his food, he proceeds to, knowing that he can use some of his own ingredients, pulls out some custom sauces, proceeds to set them out on the table, and proceeds to dress his various meals with different sauces. Just for relative reference, this includes things such as tomato sauce and brown sauce. He proceeds to set them out and uses a little bit of magic here and there to spice things up. But the heat is kept at the relative temperature, making sure that everything is okay as he cooks his various meals, finishing all 10 meals in relatively good time, cutting it close at 25 minutes, but doing well all the same. His dishes get carried out by the next person, Rickard. He seems to take it fairly personally and proceeds to almost bite back as he does so, before realizing it's a test. You kind of see the true side of him now. Obviously, he's very proud and confident, and he also seems to be a little bit angry, maybe understanding.
I mean, I saw that when I let him in the door, so it's hardly hidden.
What's the goblin's name, by the way?
Fredor.
Did he already go?
Fredor Gooble. No, he's last. And finally, with Brute's dishes done, with Feldor's dishes done, Cethla is ready. And as she proceeds to make her dishes, she makes them quick, fast, effective, and simple. Very much attesting to her time at home, she makes the food quickly. She makes it effectively, using very few ingredients compared to some of the others. Obviously not matching Angus's innovation of having the ability to produce food at command, seemingly. With Cethla preparing the meals, she makes very compact meals, preparing them in a very nice bundle and presentation on the plates before they get released outwards. Gooble, as he heads through, seems a little bit confused by the immediate insults. He seems to kind of act dumb and ignorant as it goes through. You've seen this kind of style before with any of this kind of thing. Servants or individuals who are working may seem to act dumb in order to divert the blame from them, making it no one's blame and therefore calming the situation. He does so with relative efficiency. He is told that it's a test, and he does seem to realize and to know that it's a test, and explains that that was his general response to it. Going about, they place the dishes down. As you begin to test them, Angus's is amazing. It is great quality. It is simple. It is effective. You can imagine eating this for breakfast, maybe not for lunch or dinner, but it's relatively good for those early hours of the day. It gives you a lot of energy and feeling to it. Fron has wasted all of his ingredients, unable to do so. He's kind of like there. He's like leaning over the front of the work surface, and he kind of looks up and he goes, "I'm sorry to have caused you so much trouble. I've been a complete waste of your resources." He kind of looks
That's
disappointed, and he hands over the apron you gave him, and he walks out.
Yeah, I expected it.
With him out of the picture, and now with the people remaining, Brute is relatively nice. It is relatively complex. It's got multiple flavors. It's got the feeling you need. You could imagine this kind of dish being served at lunchtime, maybe at dinner to particularly high-end individuals. But nothing really else attests to that. Knowing the efficiency on the back scene of this Malcom, you kind of understand that he uses up a lot of his resources to make exquisite dishes. Maybe a bit too much. Seathla's dishes are particularly nice. With them being compact, they are easily handheld. You take the sandwiches. The presentation of them is amazing and immaculate, and you proceed to take bites. Excuse me. You enjoy the meals. They are simple, a little bit childish in places, kind of attesting to her housewife nature, but she enjoys them. You enjoy them nonetheless, and they are relatively good. And then comes Folky's food. When you taste his, there is an immediate distinction of this is not normal. And as you begin to taste it, the flavor becomes overwhelming, and you begin to kind of understand that these flavors are new and amazing. The different sauces that are applied to these as they are cooked, and the efficiency that they've been made, as well as the spark of magic that's been added to this to make it look gleaming and amazing. You adding a few twinkles in there as they exit. The food itself is amazing. It's completely new, something you've never tried before. You can't really place where you might put this on your menu, but it could very much attract new people.
This is going on the specials menu.
Going into the final phase of this, Malcom reveals the final phase, something they weren't necessarily prepared for. Angus is the only one who doesn't react to this. And as this happens, Malcom proceeds to tell them that they are to use the remainder of their wasted ingredients to make a new meal to serve 3 people. They must be a big meal, as they are not buying anything for lunchtime rush. They are buying this for dinner. At which point you watch as Brute panics. With no ingredients before him, he begins to kind of worry, what can he make? He begins to try and have things ideas go through his head, and he begins to try and develop, but ultimately comes to no food whatsoever. As this takes place, unfortunately, because there wasn't a meal created by him, one of the bar hands is kind of left to handle the next situation, making sure to avoid drunk customers wandering around as you 4 proceed to wander around the tavern acting all drunk, as there seems to be kind of a game of bumper cars almost, as they attempt to dodge and weave out of the way. Sheba being fairly successful. Trisha gets hit a few times on her way through and proceeds to drop the empty tray that she has on her a few times as she goes through, seemingly not very well prepared for this. Rickard seems to kind of take each hit from a customer on purpose, kind of trying to force the engagement and holding it in place, but doesn't proceed to react to any of this. And then Fredor is not hit once. You barely even notice as he makes it from one end of the tavern to the other in relatively quick succession. As this is taking place, Angus, with his massive variety of materials, begins to make a large dish. Putting the pan away now, you still see that there are eggs on the surface of it that have been cooked but aren't ready. He puts the pan on his back, and the eggs just seem to stick to the surface. They just don't move. They don't seem to cook, they just stay there, almost held in place. He proceeds to make the next few dishes, though. Using his remaining ingredients, he has a massive advantage over the others. Similar to Seathla, she is also very well prepared for this, and proceeds to make very extravagant dishes for this. Obviously making a large dish to serve multiple people, she sets this dish up and prepares it to be split into 3 dishes on the individual's command. Obviously, a party dish versus a separate meal for 3 individuals, so adding a little bit of flair to it. Volky hasn't got as many ingredients, but with what he does, he makes do. Using his various sauces and different spices, he sets himself up to make a very good dish. You proceed to understand that he makes some form of risotto kind of dish. Various rices, peppers, meats, and different sauces and flavors added to it, all mixed together to form a very balanced and very well-made dish for all of them. You all proceed to taste the dishes. It's very difficult to pinpoint which one is better. Angus's has a lot of good flavor to it. Obviously, with a lot of materials left, he has left a good portion of his materials still remaining, maybe not even using 50% of what he was given through the 2 tasks. He has made a dish which is delectable to all of you. You like it, you'd probably give it maybe a 9 out of 10 or so. And you could see it serving maybe multiple people at a table, similar to Cethelas, that is made for that. Party food almost. The main portion of it is what looks to be a large tart, or quiche would be a better way of putting it. A large quiche which has what seems to be a variety of salads around the outside, well prepared and put in a good presentation to it, easily sliced and separated among the various individuals. And finally, with Volky's meal, he brings out the meals and hands them to you. Fairly large meals, and as you taste the various portions of it, you get a sense that he's relying a lot on his sauces, his homemade things. And you can begin to taste the repetitiveness of each of the dishes as they begin to repeat, not having the depth and the flexibility of flavor. It is still delicious and new and alien to you, but it's a bit samey. With this out the way, which of the bar hands and the cooks would you like to hire? If you wish to ask them any questions, you're welcome to do so.
For Angus and the goblin.
Okay, we'll start with that then.
How many can we hire of each?
1 of each.
I see.
You can hire multiple bar hands, but then they will be then one of them will basically be, they'll be on shifts 1 each day, but they'll still be paid double, so you won't get anything out of it.
I'm thinking, yeah, I'd probably agree with Angus and the goblin of Fredor. The ability to make eggs appear spontaneously out of thin air is a huge
It's gonna cut down on our
on egg budget.
Yeah.
Tell me, are you some sort of sentient cockerel?
He shakes his head.
Okay, he's not a basilisk or nothing like that.
Why do you wear armor, by the way?
I need it.
Did you know that the chicken part of the basilisk was the tail? That messed me up when I found that out.
The what was that?
The chicken part of the basilisk is the tail.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, not the snake, the chicken.
Why do you need to wear it all the time?
It is who I am. I've never known myself without this armor.
Oh, he's living armor.
You can't take it off?
I prefer not to. By the way, as this is all going on and as you're kind of doing this with Brute, who panicked with this, you kind of hear in the back as Malcom kind of goes over and with his remaining ingredients uses every last scrap of them to make a delectable meal, which he does bring out and he presents before you. You each taste it and it is generally amazing. Actually, make a check with advantage because of your scrap usage. Scavenger from Barren Lands. Yeah, it is delicious in total. You make it and it is a nice dish, and it's fairly healthy, it's fairly well balanced, and with the remainder of the ingredients, it's got a lot of nutrients to it. You all proceed to partake in this, and you eat it, and you kind of understand the expectant level of the food. You taste it, and you know immediately this is Malcolm's. It's got a signature flavour to it, and specific make, and He presents it to you, and you kind of have a little bit more of a gauge on who to kind of aim for. Angus is on par, if not better. Bulky has some good flavors, but again is very much samey. And with... here's the last one. Sethla, she can make dishes efficiently, quickly, and she seems to do them with a relative kind of gentleness and caring to them, putting a little bit of more work into each one to make it customizable. It is nice, not necessarily on par with Malcom, but good nonetheless. And did you have any questions for Fredor? I believe you did.
Who was Fredor?
The goblin. Or was that just you saying Angus and Fredor as your choices?
No, those are my choices.
Okay. Queglod, do you have any opinions?
I'm happy with Angus and Fredor. One question for Angus. Exactly what is the limit of your your magic that you seem to have going there?
There is none. I can only make eggs, though.
You can make infinite eggs?
Indeed. They have to cook unless I hit someone with the pan.
You can hit people with it?
He nods and kind of draws the pan as a weapon. Seems to be like a two-handed warhammer.
Kindred
we have
spirit.
to test that out sometime.
I draw up my VL and said, yes, I too know what it is. I too wander this world, hitting people with unconventional weaponry.
I pull out my greatsword.
Behold, that's just a big sword. That doesn't count.
I pull out my giant drums.
You don't hit... Actually, I don't know if I've ever seen you hit people with those. I don't know. I haven't known you long enough.
We could try. I haven't done it yet.
You'd probably break them.
Yeah,
It would work as a one-use disable technique,
You smack him over the head with the drums.
like a fucking Scooby-Doo gag.
That's the chaotic cauldron.
Oh no.
That goes back a while. Anyway, so you're choosing Angus and Fredor.
Yep.
Do you have any opinions on this, Malcom? Sudz?
He's efficient with the resources, and he can make free eggs.
Oh,
I guess that's...
yeah. I guess he's having Discord issues. Hello? Sudz, we can't hear you.
I'm here.
Oh, hello.
Ooh.
I had to reconnect.
Okay. What's your opinion on either of them?
I guess I just wanted to know, how did the kobold do again?
Oh, she had no mistakes. She didn't fail in any of her tests. She was fairly polite in what she did. She seems to be used to this kind of work. Fredor is not used to this. He seems to be a little bit inexperienced, but he seems to be very good at kind of adapting to any situation.
See, for me, when it comes to the bar hand, it's a bit half and half between
It did
kobold
seem a
and
bit half and
kobold.
half between the two of them.
Yeah.
Also, with a note.
It's also the same with Angus and what was the housewife's name again?
Seaforth.
Yeah, they seem to be also pretty much the same there. It's just that Angus has the bonus of being able to produce eggs, which is a pretty good.
With that in mind, I will also say Sheba was the one that you requested to be brought here.
It would be rude to then send her back home.
No, she would be okay with being sent back home. It's just a matter that the position was offered to her, so she travelled here for the position.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was...
Yeah, Sheba was the kobold that you spoke to. Was the one
when
who
I
was
talked to all the ladies.
Yeah. Taking that out of context, it makes no sense, but...
Malcom knows a thing or two about that.
Yeah.
My vote goes towards Sheba.
Okay. Knowing any previous information, so Angus is a definite. Did anybody else want to say anything? So like,
About
did
the
they
cook or...
did they have any? Did they have a change of opinion, or are they going? Or is it
I'm
going
going for goblin and
Red Door?
Well, I mean, yeah. I'm not too concerned for the bar hand, obviously. Honestly, I think either of them could do quite well.
I would definitely hire both of them if we could.
I mean, is it possible to hire 2 cooks?
If a budget,
You
if
mean
we have the
2
budget
cooks or
for
2
it,
bar hands?
2 bar hands. You
2
mean?
bar hands is possible, and it means that if you do get a massive influx of customers, it means that you'll be able to handle it. It also means that if you ever choose to expand, you will have the necessary bar hands to manage it.
I mean,
but 2 cooks is not possible.
2 cooks at once one would be a sous chef, but this is a cook position, not a sous chef position.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they could switch. Like one day it could be that guy, the other one.
Why do we need?
That's bad. That's not the kind of work you want.
Yeah.
I get paid for half the days in a week. Yeah, that's great. That'll definitely sustain my living conditions.
Yeah, we could. The only way we could do that is if we paid them for the full week, despite them not working the full week, which is bad business.
Yeah. So 1 cook, 2 bar hands max.
Yeah. I'm okay with going with Angus and the both of the bar hands. Inexperienced but adaptable, he'd definitely be able to work out underneath tutelage, I believe.
And I did plan to put some extra money into the thing, so it should be alright.
Sheba does at this moment, where she's kind of standing there, she goes, I can teach him if you want. I mean, I've been in bar work since I can remember. So, I can teach him the basics if you want, so that he can keep his adaptiveness and be good.
How does that sound to everybody?
Sounds good to me.
That seems to solve our problem, yeah.
Okay. So you hire Sheba and Fredor. Okay.
And I do want to have that conversation with the girl from the farm.
Trisha.
Not Suhaba, Zuvin.
Okay.
Since he wanted to get that taken care of.
Yeah.
And
with the time that remaining before they leave, you kind of talk to Trisha, and you make sure that she's aware that she's welcome back. Just Zuvin is obviously, he can look a little bit intimidating, but he's gentle at heart. She takes it. She seems a little bit disappointed, but to her this looked like it was just another job she was willing to accept. Then she kind of moves on, and you get the sense this isn't a big blow to her.
Unfortunate. But now it's time for pie.
Indeed. With your pie cooked, you head out, you collect it, and you prepare it. Do you wait until your guest arrives?
Yes.
Okay.
It would be rude.
As you guys prepare, Sheba and Fredor begin to prepare. They get the necessary outfits that they need. Sheba is already in relatively nice dress wear to match with the rest. At this point, Vardra and Penova switch over as it comes to about the lunchtime rush when you're opening up. Few individuals do come in and kind of say hello. A few of the regular ones, the main dwarf guy as well, who's who finished the work on the in your enchantment station, goes, good to see you, Harlan, you starf. What have we got here then? And kind of looks over Sheba and Fredor. Short and fast, good, I like it. And he kind of puts up his thumb. Something to that. And he goes, Zuvin, I'll have a regular old mate. And kind of slaps down a few gold coins, and you watch as the rest of his gang just like pile into your tavern.
How many of them are there?
20 in all.
Okay.
So they all set up.
I thought you were going to go with the obvious 7.
No, they're not 7 dwarves. There's 20 of them.
That's just a stereotype.
Yeah, and
travel in packs are far greater.
Oh, okay, you made 2 pies, noted. So yeah, they pile in, they begin to talk, and they chatter, and he kind of you watch as the main guy goes, "Oh, you got a chef now? Ah, awesome. What kind of things you got on the meal then, Susan? Well, we do have a few things that could be tasty. We have obviously something that they tried and they all said was pretty good and flavorful. Was a egg and bacon sandwich, something that fits for more of a breakfast and lunchtime meal. Ah, excellent. I'll take 3. And we kind of, and you see that they're brought out. As you're out back, as you kind of collect the pies, you see Angus go in and set himself up. He puts on a small apron. It was massive. It's tiny compared to him. It's just daintily hanging around his neck. He can't tie it around the back, and it's just this tiny white apron on his front. He proceeds to take a spatula and proceeds to bash the back end of the pan. You see, as he does this, the egg flies off and sticks to the spatula on the other side of the pan before he dips the spatula in water. There's a sizzling sound. He just pulls it out and it's clean. Where he proceeds to set up some more eggs and proceeds to fry them up and prepare them for the sandwiches. He proceeds to do so, and with good efficiency also, he sets up more of those sandwiches in preparation to it. They're taken out by Sheba and Fredor, and they're handed out among the dwarves, and they buy a good amount of sandwiches, and they go, "These are amazing! You open up for breakfast!" And Zuvin kind of looks over at you, Queglod, who's currently just waiting to see what's going on. "Oh, are we allowed to open for breakfast?"
I see no reason why not, as long as everyone is capable.
"Sounds good for me. So, we open up for breakfast if you wish to come back." "Yes! Spread the word, these are amazing. I'll take 3 more." Puts down a few more. Puts down some more silver pieces. And he devours them quickly, and the dwarves seem to get full on these bacon sandwiches, and you're going to fatten up this population so quickly. Proceeds to...
We saved them from demons, but introduced heart disease.
They need to stay for pie, by the way.
Okay.
They'll manage.
They do stick around, and eventually, as you've prepared your pies, an individual walks through the door. The individual in question, looking at them from what you see, who would be in the main area at the moment? Kind of hanging out with the dwarves. You would? You all would be, I'm going to assume? Except for you, Malcom, who's in the kitchen preparing your pies?
Yeah.
Okay. You see a green tiefling walk in. She has horns that kind of curl back along her head and then curl down behind her ears. She wears 2 very beautiful earrings, what look to be gemstones in them. She has what looks to be a leaf dress on, going from her neck all the way down to a little bit below her knees. It has long sleeves that come all the way to the wrists with a slight open end to the sleeves themselves. She has a beautiful smile on her face as she walks in. Her hair is relatively long. It goes all the way down to about halfway down her spine, and it seems to be a green coloration to it. It seems to have a few flowers kind of put in place, and you see another individual in kind of wrapped up robes walks in beside her. She comes in and goes, "Is Malcom about?"
He's in the kitchen. I'll go get him for you.
You head out. You go and you go out. That's a little bit of shouting. As Malcom, you come back with the pies.
Yes, I come back with pies.
Okay, you come back with the pies, and she kind of goes, "Oh, Malcom, and what are those?"
They're strawberry stone pies.
You watch as her eyes kind of like grow and sparkle as she seems very kind of intrigued by this and very much into it, and she goes, "May I have a slice?"
Yes, of course. Everybody gets a slice.
At which point all the dwarves go, "Hey!" They all raise their tankards, and she kind of jumps a little bit as she looks around and sees now all the dwarves just staring at you guys. She kind of shrinks and shies away a little bit before you proceed to serve out the strawberry stone pies. Does anybody else want the strawberry stone pie?
Oh, definitely.
I like.
Yeah, I'll have a piece.
Okay, you all have your pieces. Do you give your staff members it as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they can join us. This is a good
This is a big ass pie.
Angus does pass on this.
Angus does pass on pie.
Yeah, you leave him a plate in the kitchen, but as you return and to see if he would eat it, he hasn't touched it.
I will have a talk.
Doesn't like pie.
He doesn't eat.
No, it's probably
Doesn't
good. Didn't
eat?
want to contaminate the food.
I mean, he was offered some of the stalagmite steak. He didn't eat that. He's not eating the pie. I have a feeling he doesn't.
Maybe he's a
Or he
vegetarian.
doesn't.
Are you saying this out loud, by the way, in the tavern area?
No.
You know, strawberry stone isn't meat, right, Bhold?
Yeah, but
Regard-
vegetarians don't eat desserts. Everyone knows that. Come on.
Behold.
I mean,
Behold, the cream was optional.
He could be vegan. It has got custard and cream in it, so
Exactly.
it could be vegan. You don't know. You can't judge. And as you all proceed to have your various pieces of pie, this stuff is amazing. It is sweet, very well balanced. It very much touches home with all of you. It makes you feel warm. It is about the most exotic and to home food that you could possibly get. You each take a piece and you all find it absolutely amazing, and all the dwarves, they kind of go silent as they all look at the head guy as he takes his bit and goes, what is this stuff?
Strawberry stone pie?
You're planning on making this in the future?
Well, it's a... See, the plant that it's made from is seasonal, so it's gotta be somewhat of a seasonal dish.
And now's that season.
Yes, currently.
He
He
looks at Zuvin and goes, "You think we could have this in a festival?" Zuvin kind of ponders a bit and goes, "It would fit up fairly well with the Harvesters Festival, I think. Good way of drawing in new customers. This could work, yes. Yes, it's a good idea. Good thinking." He does like a respectful nod towards your head builder. "Yes, in next year, when this comes back around, if you've got more of those strawberry stones to bake, we can make several pies and bring in fairly new customers. And those who are devoted and patrons could receive an extra slice." At which point all the dwarves proceed to look at each other, very much into this kind of understanding of what's going on and very much drawn by this dish. Looking at your guest, Malcom, she is seemingly very distant from this as she tastes it, but she looks like she is overwhelmingly enjoying it, and she just seems to be silently enjoying it as she takes each bite of it.
So, is it good?
It's amazing. She finishes it off, places the plate down, and goes, I bought the one you wanted to have in your herbalism station.
Ah, yes.
And she gestures to the individual who hasn't moved at all this entire time, just wrapped in the dark robes, hood and robe, that kind of thing.
I'll show it to you. I'll kind of go that way.
Okay. You lead her and the other one through into the herbalism station. Do any of you follow?
I think I'll leave him with his guest.
Okay. Queglod? You leaving them be, or are you going to follow?
No, I'll leave them to their business for now.
Okay. Heading into your herbalism station before heading down into the area below, the individual takes off the robe and hood, and you see a dryad. Pure what looks to be more jungle-like wood with what looks to be much more emerald-coloured mats of vines and ivy that wrap around the head almost like hair. The individual is plain-faced and they look at you and she goes, she'll be the one helping here. She'll be able to take care of the plants, make sure everything is okay, and she'll also gather a few things from the local environments, forests and that kind of thing.
I see. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Dryad nods and telepathically goes, "It's good to meet you."
You know, I'm gonna kind of like show him all the plants that I have currently.
Okay. He takes a look around and begins to look at each of the plants and proceeds to identify them in his own way and kind of nods and goes, "I can make sure these will all be safe. I can spread the clippings if you want so that they can grow in different areas and cultivate them if you wish."
Yes, that'll be nice. I'd also like for you to kind of keep an eye on this, and I show him the desk sun kiss with the flowers on it.
I can do that. I'll be careful when around it, but I should be okay with handling that.
Good. I don't think there's really much.
You watch as your guest, Vedantis, proceeds to. She inspects all the flowers and the plants within your within the biomes that you have in place, and she sees the various areas where you've potted them and set them up. Before you head back up and into the main area where the dwarves seem to be filing out now. Lunchtime is over, and she kind of turns and goes, "Well, it's been a pleasure, Malcom. I would like to speak to you again at some point. I do hope we can talk. Maybe I'll come and visit from time to time."
Yes, that would be nice. We do plan to leave the city pretty soon, and I'm not sure how long we'll be gone, but...
You're traveling, or...?
Yes, we're heading east through the Enchanted Glade.
Oh, well, if you ever find yourself on the other side of the mountains, near the Emerald Sanctuary, I'll see you then.
Yes, if I find myself there, I'll, keep in mind that you're there.
She kind of steps one step close to you, kind of grabs your hand and gives a little rub on the back and stares up at you and smiles before letting go and kind of skipping out of the tavern.
You sly dog.
Oh, Malcom got a girlfriend?
You saying this out loud, or...?
No. Maybe.
Zuvin, as he's standing there, he looks at you, Bhold, with like a, "That just happened." and then kind of goes about his work, making sure everything's clean in preparation.
So, did everybody enjoy the pie?
Delicious.
It was excellent, thank you, Malcom.
There was no issue. I thought I'd try and debut it, see if it would be something that people would like, and obviously the dwarves liked it.
So, with that, and a slight influx of gold from this little occasion, I'll add an extra 10 gold onto that due to your pie business.
Yes.
The tavern seems to do relatively well. During its first few days, you seem to have a few of the basic customers coming and going through the tavern and proceeding to enjoy themselves. The bacon and egg butties seem to catch on pretty quick, and all the dwarves seem to be spreading the word between the regulars in the tavern. You notice as the majority of the humans proceed to kind of pick up the pace as well, picking up the slack, enjoying a lot of the meals themselves. The orcs not so much enjoying them as they are, but the dragonborn very much following Zuvin's advice and kind of following on, enjoying it themselves. With the next 2 days, you do unfortunately make your first loss. However, things begin to pick up. As the week comes to a close, you go into your first week, and you lose 52.6 GP, which would take you down to 757.4 GP. So 757 GP and 40 silver. However, rechanging this formula to match a week, you, with your current customer count and the popularity of the Bacon Buddies, you are losing 1 silver a week. And that is if you gained no more customers.
Wait, what? What was that?
If you made no more customers, and it stayed static for the remainder of your existence in the tavern, you'll be losing 1 silver a week. But obviously, taverns grow, and so does the food with it. With this, you do cut down on the food supply also, going down by a single gold piece, which does mean you'd actually be making 9 silver a week, actually, because of the food supply decrease. The cook is paid, the bar hand is paid, the gardener is paid, and everything else is in order.
We have a gardener?
Yeah,
I have a gardener, yes.
Oh.
Yes. And I believe there we will take a very short break. Go grab your drinks, go grab your snacks. We'll be back soon. Just gonna set things up, and the party will be on the road once again.
Right.
Alright, we are back from the dead.
I believe that's just a hangover.
Yeah, sounds about right. So. Ooh. Can you guys hear that?
The music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a little quiet, but it's...
Okay, it might be a little bit too quiet there. Hold on. I mean, it crescendos and goes up to that, but there will be quiet spots. So let's see. Is there anything else here that works? Let's try this. Let's turn it up a little bit. There we go. That works. So, with our players seeing how their tavern has done relatively well, the party proceeds to gather up their things. Then they prepare to leave. They get a warm leaving and sending off as they head out on their journey. Zuvin very much accepting the fact that he is effectively the one in charge of this establishment at its current state. You head out and you leave Adamanthia, heading south with the things that you have gathered up and your party in tow. You make your way southward. Who is hailing the perception checks?
Perception.
Or keeping watch?
Yes, me. Yes.
You? Okay. With 2 people on watch, you can either make two independent set checks or give advantage to one person. And who would like to assist in this?
I'll assist him.
Okay. So 2 separate rolls or just one?
He can roll.
Okay, roll advantage.
Roll.
Okay. Total?
13.
13. Travelling along the road southward, you pass by plenty of individuals. You pass by individuals both entering and leaving town, individuals seemingly where quite a lot of the crop has been collected in. There seem to be various areas which seem to be being kept under management. Weeds being removed, being generally looked after that kind of thing. Off closer to the mountain range, you do see a small orchard as you pass by. You see quite a few of individuals working in the fields there. And you pass by the odd horse and cart leading towards Adamanthia. Travel for a day and then you camp. Not anything seeming to happen this close to the city. Okay, as you lay camp, who would like to be the ones trying to find the location of said camp?
If we're scouting, Felipe can help.
And so can Featherwing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make your rolls then, please. 1 each.
What kind of role is scouting anyway?
This would be perception or survival, your highest.
Alright, yeah, I have -1 survival, don't pick me.
Perception or survival?
Yeah, or survival.
Survival, so that makes that an 18.
Okay.
That's for Felipe then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be 19 then.
Okay. As you proceed to look around, you do find a good spot that works relatively well. There seems to be a small clump of trees which you can set up next to, providing a small bit of cover if it should rain on this day or the following morning. But you set yourself up and you prepare for the days ahead. Sasha proceeding to keep an eye and make sure that everything is okay with the party. Who would like to go on to watches? You need 2 people on watch because no one is suffering exhaustion. So, or you have two slots for watches if you want to take them in pairs.
Well, if I could, I'd like to try and go on a watch with Ghaakt if I could.
Sure.
Yeah, I can take a watch as well. Felipe doesn't need to sleep, so he'll be watching
The entire time.
always.
Yeah.
I guess
Ghaakt just hearing
go
this
with
saying, "Oh my
Queglod.
god, they finally want to try and talk to me. I've just been hanging out near them."
I'll go
The only
with
one I've
Queglod.
talked to is Bhold.
I had this plan.
Don't worry, Behold's gonna talk to you soon.
So, And who was going with Queglod on the second watch?
I'll go with her.
Okay. With your first watch underway, perception checks individually or together, your choice.
You can roll.
Well, this is the first watch, which is Malcom and Ghaakt. Do you want to just roll advantage on one or roll separately?
It doesn't matter to me either way.
My perception is 9.
Plus 9?
Wouldn't be plus 9.
It's just as Patha's skill perception 9.
Oh, that means you got a minus 1.
Yeah.
That's the
okay.
passive, because it's 10 plus or minus your
I
thing, so you
should
got a minus
probably
1.
get it.
Would
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, would Felipe be rolling for this as well? since
Felipe
he's-
would always get a roll for this, so he just gets a straight roll. So roll with advantage, and then roll for Felipe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Felipe's sat there, he's looking out, but he doesn't see all that much.
That's 20.
Okay, also the music has gotten very
Did you
loud.
roll with advantage for you?
Yeah, I did.
Alright, am I also rolling?
No.
I meant Queglod.
Queglod did roll.
No,
Queglod.
but that was for Felipe.
Yeah.
She can still do hers with advantage.
No, she doesn't sleep though. Or this will be on the next watch. She'll get to do that.
Yeah, on the next one.
Yeah.
So, as you go about your watch, you can have a conversation if you wish. You've lit a fire and you're all sat around. The others are proceeding to sleep in their respective tents, and with their sleeping bags and winter clothes, you do manage to pick up some for Ghaakt just in case. So.
So Ghaakt, tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm a recent graduate. The thing usually is about being a bard is that either you then go into just write famous songs or just, entertain a king for a while. I prefer to do the former, obviously. I'm not sure if there are many kings who aren't musicians that carry giant viols made of rock or are half-orcs.
Probably not.
When Bhold becomes one, he will. I mean, what?
I'm
That's gonna happen.
I'm hoping on you to be my lifeline, buddy. Ghaakt says, pointing back into the...
So,
I don't know, are we on a cart, or...?
No, you're on the road and you've got tents.
yeah, I picked some tents up a while back.
Yeah, did we get winter clothes for Ghaakt?
Ghaakt has means of getting winter clothes for themselves.
Alright.
You would have picked up extra bits if you didn't have them, so it's fine.
So, what brought you to Adamantia?
It's the closest port to the fractured belt. Pretty much where I started off. Just did a few gigs in the nearby taverns to get some money to get out on the road. I guess running into you guys fixed that up for me, huh?
Yes. So what do you plan to do?
I'm gonna be frank with you. How long you've been doing this whole fighting demons and journeying around thing?
How long has it been now?
About...
In universe, like I guess a few weeks that we've been together.
Yeah. Well, no. In universe, you
A bit more than
started.
that, I guess.
You started at the beginning of the month of the Harvest Festival, so it's been about a month and a week or two now. It's about 6 weeks.
Outside, though, it's been like 2 years.
Outside, it's almost been a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been about a little over a month.
Oh, but it's not that long. You've already started business together.
Yes. And it seems like...
Considering how quick that went, I guess it ain't so weird that I'm part of the group over the course of a week.
Nah. You seemed alright. You helped us out there in the fight. Apparently the big angel guy saw you as something special, so he brought you into that big fight with us.
Yeah, that was weird. Speaking of which, whatever happened to that old grandma that was in your group? I turn around and all of a sudden she's gone.
Oh. Queglod did explain it, right?
No.
Or did she not?
Not openly, no.
Okay, then I have
She
no
doesn't
idea.
seem the type.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot.
How do we know it's Queglod?
Who are you? What have you done with my
She
grandmother?
looks very similar to Queglod. It's just erase all the wrinkles with Photoshop and change the color of her hair back to usual, then she's fine.
Take the healing brush. Fill tool.
Repair tool, just into
Gradient.
To be honest with this group, some weird things
Control
happen.
undo, control undo.
Yeah, no kidding. So, I guess the main question is, how familiar are you guys with cursed objects?
Cursed objects. Well, I did have a cursed ring on me at one point.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
my bracers are cursed.
Indeed, they are.
I guess cursed. Maybe something more to the music side, like say cursed hymns, maybe.
Okay, have I heard anything about anything like that?
Make a history check with disadvantage. No,
That's with a +4.
doesn't matter. Still a no. You've never heard of anything such like this.
Nope, no idea.
Wondering if it could have even been a hymn that. Anyway, I'm just looking around. I'll probably be searching around the big cities for asking about them when we stop off at them. What were they again? Well, we're going in the opposite direction of one of them, I know that much.
You are currently heading in this general direction.
Yeah, you said south, right?
In here, up here, this way.
Oh, wait, hang on. Where are you pointing? You're not pointing to the map.
Oh,
Ah,
the map.
that map.
Yeah, this is the map I use for like general travel.
Yeah, down
So
south.
here, and up here, and here.
I knew specifically that it's this one.
And then over here.
That one?
Voradun, Kjonendir,
And then maybe Castleform, I believe, was
it was either
the third possible one.
Yeah, Castleform was the third one.
Well...
Not for any like research purposes. I actually majored in heroic epithets myself.
I have no idea what that... Wait, do I? I have no idea what that...
No, not really.
Heroic tales.
Yeah.
I see. Well... I guess we will be traveling around for a while, so I guess we will end up in other cities where you can be able to find what you're looking for.
Hopefully. Couldn't have gone too far.
Well, I got to know Ghaakt, that's all.
Looking around for the remainder of your watch, you find out that there's a small family of owls living in the tree above. There seems to be 2 small chicks and a larger owl. They seem to keep a watch on you. They are very much cautious of you being very close to the nest, but they don't take it personally. You rest up. Nothing else seemed to happen during your evening, and Queglod and Bhold, you take the second evening. Go ahead and make your roll.
I'll give you advantage.
Felipe gets a separate roll from this, so you can do that and then make it with advantage if you wish.
Okay.
Or Bhold can.
If Felipe is doing it separately from me, it'll be -1 for me. What's your
That's a
wisdom?
real
roll?
workhorse.
+2.
Right. Might be best if I give you advantage then.
Well, Felipe gets his own roll, so roll for Felipe.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Felipe rolls
well, yeah.
rolls for himself, and then you can roll for your one independently. Okay. Felipe's a bit more aware during this one.
Yeah, that's an 18 then.
Yeah. You Behold, if you want to make your roll. You roll with advantage because Queglod isn't going to do hers. Okay.
21.
21. You look out and you look out amongst the horizon. You don't see anybody or anything. You kind of look out. There's not really much to hunt or anything during the night time here. Being fairly close to the city doesn't help. You do see what looks to be general torchlight from the city. Small portions of the night. But that's about it. Unless you want to talk to each other, you're Watch comes first.
Queglod.
Mm-hmm.
How was your enchanting thing?
My enchanting, it's going alright. I'm working on an experiment for one of our allies currently.
What kind of experiments? What did you do with the vamplant crystals?
Oh, the vamplant crystals. I studied them. I'm trying to learn what sort of things could be made from their essences.
The vampire crystals are what you store the enchantments in.
Oh,
They're
right.
the enchantment crystals.
My mistake. Yes, no, they are. They're useful catalysts for enchantments. They can be used to hold the magical properties of certain items and transfer them into the item that I want to enchant.
Oh, I see.
I don't actually know what the fuck he's saying.
Who are you doing experiments for?
Rahal has asked me to make something for her.
Oh, what did she ask you to make?
It's... well, I can't tell you in exact terms, but after the events that took place in the city, Rahal is looking for something to... well, she's looking to replicate one of my abilities to see in the dark.
Your abilities?
Yes, you'll recall that when we first met, I couldn't see in the dark any better than you could.
Uh-huh.
But now that is no longer the case.
Ah.
Through magic, I've been able to enhance my eyesight. Rahal found out about that and asked me to see if there was a way that I could grant her the same ability.
Oh, I see. She can't see in the dark either?
I don't know. What race is Rahal, Chris?
Gnome.
Gnome.
What? She's a gnome?
Yes.
Yeah. She's
How the
always
fuck
been
have
a
I
gnome.
not been aware of this?
She stands on a stool when she's at the war table.
How do I not know about this yet? Alright.
Behold, shocked to learn that he's a giant. What?
I'm a big boy.
I'm a big boy, you small.
Yes, I'm sure she can, but my capabilities are better than most people can naturally.
I did notice you could see through darkness a lot, even when I got trapped.
In that cave where I got trapped in darkness. And Queglod came in and saw through it.
Didn't get trapped. Something tried
Yeah,
to.
something tried to pull me in, yeah.
Yeah, something tried to grab you and thought.
Well, I got these goggles, which let me see. Now.
Yes, that is quite helpful.
They do kind of get in the way of my skull, though.
Yes, it is a bit of a shame. It was impressive the way you took down that Behir. Although inconvenient for me at the time, of course.
Well, that's why I tried to pay you back by...
Indeed. And you've been incredibly helpful, Bhold, as well as a very good friend as well.
You too. You didn't let me starve. You taught me how to read.
A little bit.
Yes, we're still working on it, but you're learning quite quickly, I think.
No, well, thank you. Oh.
The rest of the night, you work on your alphabet a bit more. You get a little bit more. You start working on the numbers that you know.
1, 2, 3, 4. Apple.
No, it's 5. No, then it's apple.
Yeah, now it's 5, then it's apple, yeah. Then it's apple plus 1.
Exactly. And then apple plus apple for 12.
Yep.
Oh man, that's not a bad way of doing it. Anyway, as you go about your
Wait, you're already
watch...
teaching him algebra.
Huh?
You're already teaching him
He
algebra.
doesn't know that.
I have no clue what the fuck that is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as this is all...
it's not the point.
As this is all going on, you proceed to go about your watch. Yep, I am noting that, Malcolm, don't worry.
Okay.
On his watch, you did see him teaching Featherwing, reading a bit more, reading into what looks to be a book while on his watch. And looking about, you see nothing. It's a fairly uneventful night. On the next day, you wake up and it does begin to rain. It's not a very light rain, or it's not a very heavy rain, but it is a light rain. And as you're moving along, you pull your hood up, you make sure that you're all well covered so you're not going to catch a cold or anything, and you move through. Who's going to be putting on watch? If you want to put Elsyan or Sasha on it, you can as well.
Well, Elsyan can take watches easier than us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, Felipe will be on watch no matter what.
Yeah.
I guess Featherwing could be on watch as well.
Okay. So if you want to
I do
roll
have-
for Featherwing and Felipe, I'm more than happy for you to do that.
Did I roll for Elsyan?
Nah, it's fine. Just leave Elsyan be for now.
Oh, 5. Uh-oh.
I do have a spell that can help us with this rain, or sleeping in it.
What spell's that?
Tiny hut.
Oh, you actually have it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Get us out of the rain.
You proceed on through the day, passing by. Sasha does, as you're traveling along the road, she does mention that she does want to go and see what, off the road, if there's anything to do with the disappearances that were a little while back. Going off road, if there are any traces of anything, it's gone now. It's been well over a week or two, yeah. Since you went and saw the scarecrows and you suspected that was it, she wanted to try and find hard proof evidence, but it's been a week or two since then.
21.
So you don't see anything, and as you're moving around, you move along the road. There are a few carts going by. There's one cart. He's kind of got his hood up. He looks a little bit miserable. He's a dwarf going along, and he gives you nods going by. His left eye's shut and just going along. Gives you a nod. Goes by in the cart as you travel by. Second day, relatively uneventful yet again. As you travel along the road, if you would like to proceed to. So as you go into preparing your watch and preparing your night, you cast Learman's Tiny Hut.
Yep.
Okay. You proceed to cast Learman's Tiny Hut, drawing the circle on the ground, tracing it around with your fingers. And as you do, this dark bubble appears, and you watch as Ghaakt disappears. What creatures do you designate to being able to enter into the tiny hut?
Can I say specific people, or does it have to be?
You can say specific people, or you can just say your party if you want to do that as a general.
Yeah, I'll just say my party.
Okay. As your party, you open it up to them, and you watch as a hand extends from inside from Ghaakt.
Best part about this is that after today, I can just do it again because I've already refreshed all my slots.
Effectively.
It's basically free.
Magic.
Looks like it's magic. Whoa.
Do you all go inside?
Yeah, we're going.
All going inside. You can see on the reflective inside of this, looking outwards, you can see the rain currently pittering on the edge of this, like you're inside a building, kind of just behind glass. And it's warm and dry on the exterior, and you dry yourselves off, and you set your cloaks to one side, and you prepare to sleep. Is anybody going to keep watch while this is taking place? Felipe obviously will advise.
Elsyan's gonna take watch.
Okay.
Featherwing, I guess?
Okay, so Featherwing, Felipe, and Elsyan. We'll start with Elsyan and Felipe going. Elsyan, I believe, has like a plus believe he has like a +5 to this. +4. Okay, so his total is 20. He looks out throughout, doesn't seem to care all that much, notice anything with you while you guys are sleeping, and just passes on the watch. Felipe doesn't notice anything either.
I clap my hands and cause the interior to become dimmer and possibly dark.
Yeah, this would be what you would do at night. Yeah, yeah. As this would happen before your rest. With the next round, Malcom, you're up with Featherwing. Does anybody join him? Not Sasha will.
Yeah, Sasha.
Okay. Sasha sits there and she's kind of just set up and she's kind of like doing some small prayers as you're watching. Go ahead and make your watch with advantage. And then make a Felipe roll, please.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait.
10.
20.
Okay. Looking out amongst the fields again, you don't seem to see anything. Just kind of scanning across the horizon, you see just off in the distance, you see a humanoid figure moving through the field late at night. Just wandering through, seemingly. Heading in a different direction to the way you'd be travelling. Doesn't seem to notice you where you've created this bubble slightly off of the road.
Interesting.
As the figure travels along, they seem to just disappear from your sight and head off. With the night being fairly uneventful, and the teaching of Featherwing again, you move on to the next day. Moving through today, the rain persists, and it gets a little bit windier outside as you all travel, and as you exit the bubble recedes and kind of peels itself back, and you're all back out into the cold, dismal rain.
Yay, rain!
Perception checks, please.
Felipe as well, I assume?
Yep.
From all of us?
No, just the people who are on watch, which would be Featherwing and Felipe.
Oh, 11.
10.
Okay. You kind of look around. You don't seem to see much going on. A cart does go the other way. It seems to be a small convoy of 2 carts, both of them being helmed by humans as they're travelling through. The carts themselves are covered over with tarpaulins, seemingly having some goods underneath as they travel through. You do also notice 2 guards travelling with them.
Interesting.
As they travel along, do you do anything, any of you?
No.
No?
We can do our business.
I think there's...
Who's coming by?
Carts.
Just one or?
2, with 2 humans on and 2 guards on each of them.
I don't mind.
They pass by, you don't intervene, they kind of go by, you step to the side of the road, the front one nods as you travel by, and you continue on your way. Now reaching closer to the glade itself, you reach what seems to be the outside of it as night falls. If you can enter it early, and you will enter in at night time, or you can proceed to camp here, your choice.
I would say camp outside.
It's
Yeah,
literally
and then-
3 days.
Camp inside, outside.
Yeah, we can camp outside.
Camping outside, you set your tiny hut up again, and you all proceed to go back and you rest. Elsyan taking first watch again. Okay. He looks out, he doesn't seem to
9.
notice anything while this is all going on. No.
Oh,
Felipe doesn't seem to
Fell
see
asleep.
any. It's to be. Felipe doesn't fall asleep. Felipe is currently busy pruning himself, making sure that he's looking all spiffing for the big adventure into the forest, not noticing anything. Go ahead and make your roll there, Malcom. And again for Felipe.
Simon?
Actually, no, it would be with. Yeah, this would be with Featherwing and then you with advantage. Sorry.
Simon?
Yeah. And
Roll for Felipe.
Oh yeah.
yeah, second one.
15.
14.
Okay. You notice some forms moving through the brush towards you. I'm kind of looking up. You can see the tall grass as it begins to shift and warble as the forms begin to move forward to you. Whatever they are, they're currently covered by the grass as they move closer to you. They're maybe about 30 feet out, heading towards you, not at a fast pace.
Alright, let's see. I'm gonna use speak with animals, see if they're animals and talking or not.
You,
10 minutes?
You use speak with
No,
animals.
I'm just gonna straight up use it.
Yeah. You use speak with animals, you prepare it, and you don't hear any immediate talking, and you watch as 2 wolves walk out from the grass. One of them's currently carrying meat, and the other one kind of goes... He was here recently. I smell his tracks. What about the bubble? I don't know what this is. I have to stay away from it. And you watch as they begin to try and move.
Do I recognize
You do.
these wolves?
These are the 2 males you met on the mountain.
Alright, I'm gonna go out to where they can see me.
Okay. You kind of pop out of the bubble. One of them turns, kind of startled, jumping back slightly. Begins to growl as the other one kind of prepares itself also, and before it kind of lifts its head and goes,
Like, these are wolves?
We found you.
Yes. Hi.
We thank you for clearing out that shelter for us. We thought we'd return the favor. And you watch as the other one that's carrying meat drops 2 rabbits on the floor in front of the bubble.
Oh. Thank you.
We hope these serve you well. And you watch as the 2 of them just sprint away.
Nice. Hey, I take the rabbits.
Okay. You have 2 rabbits.
I'm gonna prepare them for breakfast.
Okay. With the remainder of your watch coming to a close, you prepare them for breakfast. Make a cooking utensils check. I'll say it's...
That's with the +7.
Yeah, so it's 30. You prepare the rabbits, you skin them. They haven't got much on them, and if they had, it's been punctured in several places by teeth. But you clean them up, you use what you can, you make a very simple stew, and you all enjoy it. It's a nice meal. And with this day, it is still raining. It's still raining out. Seemingly the rain's coming down from the mountainside. Just gonna make sure I got my days right here. 3, 4, 5, first leave, second leave, third leave. You've had your 3rd sleep now, right?
Yes.
This is your 3rd sleep
Yeah.
on the road? Okay.
Yes.
Today is the day, Malcolm.
Today is the day. Wait, hold on.
Gold sickle.
Where's the day?
Oh.
It is the
Perfect.
last day of the ancestors waking.
Ah.
And it is also a full moon.
Perfect. Alright. Well, we are next to the enchanted glade, right?
Yep, you are indeed.
Alright. Malcolm's gonna walk up to the glade and yell out, Dippy!
The
What?
volume of his voice shouting Dippy echoes out throughout the land and into the forest. You see a few birds begin to scatter from within the forest as his voice travels. There's no immediate response.
Malcolm, what the hell? You a werewolf or something?
I got the name for a sec. Give me 1 sec to pull it up on my notes. The
Is it-
notes.
No, Dippy's correct.
No, not Dippy's. Other.
Who the fuck's Dippy?
Oh, will be revealed soon. Where is
Why
it?
the fuck are you shouting so loud in the morning?
Elsyan just says, "Oh, leave him to his rabbling. Are we heading into the glade or not?"
I'm also gonna yell out, Shattercrest sent me!
Well, I don't know if Malcom needs some time to finish up whatever it is he's doing, but
Could he at
beyond
least do it
that, I have-
outside the bubble?
He's doing it outside the bubble. He's standing
I'm
at the
doing
edge
all
of the.
that bubble.
Oh,
Yeah.
Christ, he's loud.
It's muffled from the inside. It's like a bubble from the outside.
Turning into a werewolf? You guys didn't tell me if that was a thing I need to worry about.
But once he's finished with that, I see no reason why we can't get on with our journey.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Malcolm, you know I can lock you out of this thing if I wanted, right?
You can sit in the naughty corner for a day. So, you head into the Enchanted Glade?
Yep.
Yeah, we heard.
Mhm.
Don't worry. As you head into the Enchanted Glade, are you collecting any of what you need while you're going, Malcolm, or?
Yep.
Malcolm at various times kind of darts off from the party and seems to climb a tree, and you watch as he proceeds with the golden sickle to cut small portions of mistletoe off of trees and proceeds to store it and prepare it. You manage to get your relative speed, roll a if you're moving at a fast speed, make it with disadvantage, otherwise make it with just a regular roll.
Don't think.
Are you guys moving at a fast pace?
I've no desire to be here for any longer than is necessary.
Yeah. I'd say I'm moving above fast pace.
So fast pace, disadvantage then please.
Nope.
What's the
Well,
total?
make one.
That's +7, so that's 11. So you do collect a few pieces. It'll be enough to suffice for probably until you're. It'll be enough to suffice for a while. You obviously wouldn't be able to. You don't have enough here for a extremely extended period of time, but you could use with the amount you've got. You could use what you're looking for maybe 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
As you do that and you proceed to walk, there's a thud, thud, thud. It gets louder and louder, and you see.
Can I see what it is?
You what sounds to be like a tree kind of bending and arcing as this form seems to be moving closer to you.
Can we see what it is?
You can't see where it is. No, you can hear it.
What direction?
Which direction is it coming from?
It's coming from inside the forest on your left-hand side where you're walking.
Oh, that's stealth.
Okay, stealth checks from everybody. Sasha has disadvantage. Elsyan gets a regular roll. That's a natural 1 from Sasha.
I believe that's a 9.
Ugh.
Overall relatively low rolls as you all proceed to go and hide. Sasha clang, 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 runs over.
Mine was a 7.
Runs over and dives into the bush. The rest of you try and hide as best you can. And there's this thud, thud as it's walking towards you, and it kind of stops. We're
Yes!
Is this in Goblin or not Goblin Giant?
This is in common.
Jiffy! Malcolm's
Okay.
running out.
Okay.
Jiffy.
You jump out of the bush and there's a thud, thud as you watch this large form currently walking through the trees. You see, standing on 2 legs, a pretty large, almost huge form. Thick kind of elephant-like skin, kind of legs with 3 very short nails, very similar to that of an elephant. A large tail swinging behind it with what looks to be a series of twigs and so on there. Wrapped around its waist and its main torso is a piece of leather which currently holds different vials and what looks to be drying pieces of jerky. You see it's got a small pouch on its back, which he seems to carry with it. Its entire body is covered in this green moss. It's got a very long neck which kind of curves up, and as you look and as you see it finally, you see a smiling mask looking back at you with what looks to be a green swirl going all the way around the wooden mask itself with 2 eye sockets or eye slots. You see its hands, as it's there, are currently wrapped around what looks to be a very large staff, probably some form of young tree that's been pulled up to make this staff, with what looks to be a few crystals hanging from it.
What does this thing look like it is?
That is it.
Race-wise.
Looks like this. It's also got a mat of what looks to be white hair over the top of it and a long beard, wearing what looks to be relative kind of furs on its arms and so on.
It's one of Malcolm's weird druid friends.
By the looks
It's
of it,
Dippy.
you can't tell what race this is. Oh. It turns and walks.
Said Fallout.
Walking away.
By the way, I'm gonna kind of explain to them. From what I heard, Dippy here is the one that controls the mystical force around the enchanted glade.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yes. So,
Well, then, a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Diffie, was it?
Yes.
we must follow Dippy.
Dippy proceeds to move on. As Dippy goes, you watch as several birds proceed to perch and kind of nestle inside Dippy's hair. Reaching into a small pouch behind, pulls out a handful of birdseed and just scatters it on his head before moving forward further. The birds peck at it, doesn't seem to mind. Proceeding to travel through the forest, you eventually reach, almost extremely quickly, you feel very disorientated by this. As nightfall begins to hit, you reach the edge of the enchanted glade.
Traveling half that amount took 3 days.
Something you would have known, traveling through the enchanted glade regardless takes 2 days. On the general commercial road. People don't know why, but they don't question it because it means you can get to one place faster.
Dippy here is the reason why.
And as you... Actually, you'd be here.
Interesting.
And as you reach the edge of this kind of forest, Dippy stands there and kind of points out, and you see what looks to be a beaten path, very old, currently mostly overgrown, with toppled rocks covering portions of it, leading into the mountain down a very thin valley. Just points out, retracting his hand and turning and walking back into the forest.
That way. Looks pretty,
It's getting near nighttime. If you want to rest, you can do so, otherwise you can't keep moving.
Anybody got anything to say about it?
I mean, is
Well.
it gonna wait with us?
No, Dippy's not coming with us.
Oh no, Dippy's
Dippy,
not going with. No.
Dippy lives in the glade. He's
Yeah.
Dippy alone.
Well, I guess he has his own thing to get on with.
Yeah, he's got to do his My Native Totoro shtick around here. Can't come into the mines with
Where
us.
are we heading next? Up the mountain?
What's that? Sorry.
We're going up the mountain now.
through.
You're going through a path that leads down a very thin valleyway.
Yes,
Yeah, I guess.
I guess we go.
You travel along the pathway. You get into the early hours of the night. At this point, there seems to be a thin layer of fog setting in as it rolls down the mountainsides leading into this valley, which begin to thicken and kind of layer themselves. And soon you're surrounded by a thick fog. You continue pushing.
I assume so, yeah, we'll keep moving.
Yeah.
Okay. And you keep pushing forward, and eventually, actually no, who would be helming perception checks during this?
I could.
Okay, go ahead. Featherwing and Felipe will be no use here because of thick fog.
I'm gonna lift Malcom up so he gets better view.
So
Yeah.
do I?
With advantage from assistance from Bhold.
Okay.
In a unique way. Okay. Looking out, you look around, and in the darkness, it's relatively difficult to see, but you see a shadow kind of shift.
Shadow.
Kind of from the silhouette of the, with what little starlight and moonlight is peeking through, you see a kind of a silhouette move, shift. Just off of the mountain on the valley on your left.
Humanoid silhouette?
Difficult to make out.
I'm gonna make sure everybody knows it was what I saw.
Okay.
Not sure what it was, but
I could light the path up ahead using some dancing lights.
or I guess continue on. Keeping an eye out for said silhouette that moved.
You continue moving through through the causeway and through the alleyway, and you proceed to not the alleyway, the valley. You proceed to continue heading through. It gets narrower at a certain point, and you have to climb over rocks and prepare yourself. I'd like everyone to make a Constitution saving throw for exhaustion.
No.
Elsyan's failed. So to Elsyan.
Oh, finally the last minute turnover
Sasha-
saves me
Sasha
instead of screws me.
succeeded. Okay, Queglod, did you
That-
succeed?
Is a 10.
Okay, you meet the DC.
Mine's a 20.
Okay, so Elsyan's the only one who suffers exhaustion as his legs begin to give under. He's not used to walking, he's used to horse and carriage, being pulled everywhere.
Mm.
You
Ponce.
reach for
Rough and tough. Rough and tough, Elsyan. Rough and tough.
If kind of grunts almost at this, and Elsyan, he's up at a point of exhaustion.
I'll pick him up.
You pick him up? Okay. You pick him up, you put Malcom down, you proceed to move along, and eventually you you kind of hear a voice speak out. Who here speaks Draconic, other than Malcom?
I do.
I do not.
I don't believe I do. No, I don't.
Definitely not.
I believe Sasha does.
That
Yeah,
makes
that's
sense.
Sasha might do.
Yeah, I believe Sasha does. I'll quickly load up their character sheets. There may be a little bit of lag on stream. I apologize. Their character sheets are pretty hefty, and because they're not here, I have to open them, which is unfortunate. Sam does not, and Harlan does not.
Oh.
Okay, so no. You're the only one who hears this, Malcom. Who dares come this close to here?
I am Malcom. I suppose you're gravel snout.
There's a whisper and kind of a hiss before you all hear rocks kind of tumbling, before you see this large form swiftly move down the side of the mountain. This large form and face kind of stopping in front of you. This kind of a draconic form, a head, pointed snout kind of staring at you, almost unbearably close. Sharp razor teeth kind of protruding from its mouth as it kind of stands there. Large stones forming its plate armor along its back as it stands there. And who would you be to know my name?
I am one that was sent by Shattercrest.
I see. And your friends? They are trustworthy here?
Yes.
So be it. Follow through the ravine. And you watch as this large form turns tails and disappears into the mist at breakneck speed.
I guess we...
Continue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, how's Elsyan holding up?
Elsyan at this point, he's like just being carried. He's gonna attempt to fall asleep on Behold's back.
Right, yeah.
He fails to do so, as he's kind of like bouncing up and down. He doesn't look great. Looks like he's about to throw up with all the movement.
And how's Behold holding up? I know he carries Queglod around most of the time, but Elsyan's a little bit heavier.
For this, I'll say make a Constitution saving throw on the remainder of you. Disadvantage on you, Behold, because you're also taking Elsyan. Okay. No,
that's +6.
Okay. You do suffer a point of exhaustion. Ghaakt as well.
Oh, fuck.
Queglod, as you're walking, you feel... roll for a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, me or?
Yeah. Everyone's doing it. Actually, speaking of which, I need to roll for Sasha.
Oof, 12.
Okay. Sasha does suffer a point of exhaustion. Behold, you do
10.
as well. You meet the DC. Whereas you, Queglod, you kind of feel weak. You also need to be carried, but Behold is suffering at this point.
I'll help.
Ghaakt takes over Elsyan. Queglod and Behold, you continue on as you are.
Yeah.
Malcolm, are there any other giant friends you want to show off to us?
I can pick up
What's that?
Queglod. He isn't that heavy.
Okay.
Said Malcolm, are there any other giant friends you want to show off to us today?
Well, yes, sorta. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
There's kind of a few more movements in the stonework before you reach what looks to be an archway. Relatively old, looking at it. There's vines kind of wrapped around it, and you see two statues of individuals in armor with their swords currently pointing down. Looking at the two of them, underneath their helmets, you can see that they are kobolds in structure. Their height obviously blown up to proportion for these for the statue.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, do I know of the significance of there being kobolds here?
Make a history check with disadvantage because you're exhausted.
Because of exhaustion, yeah.
Okay. You can't put your finger on it immediately, and with your exhaustion, you're trying to focus on keeping yourself upright. You travel through it and you proceed onwards. Elsyan. Elsyan takes 10 points of psychic damage as you watch as he gets shocked as he goes through the gate. You watch as his form kind of falls limp and he goes unconscious.
Wait, what?
Oh, no.
Before there's a further movement of stone and the form reappears and you can hear the voice through the mist. You said that there wasn't anybody in your party who was dangerous. Yet this one set off the trial.
I didn't suspect him to be dangerous. I've been traveling with them for a while. I assure he would mean no harm.
Make a persuasion
What is
check.
this? What is this? What is this gate? What has it done to him?
It has made sure that if he is one of a more dark persuasion, that he will be put out so that we can deal with them. Anybody of evil alignment will be knocked out and take 2d6 damage.
Oh, that.
Wait, you're evil?
Evil.
Elsyan is. He's evil alignment, he's just done very good at hiding it. At times.
Interesting. But I assure you, he is no harm, and if he does try to do anything, we can stop it.
I hope so, for your sake. You hear further movement as you travel along. Constitution saving throw from everybody as you travel for another hour.
Oh, jeez.
This is a long way.
Yep.
Ooh, 20.
Oh,
Getting good rolls.
Nope.
Oh,
done.
If I can do anything, it's not get tired.
Did you roll with... Oh yeah, you rolled with disadvantage because you're carrying Queglod. So Queglod, you would have made that with advantage, but you're fine. What's your total there, Malcom?
7.
Oh, Sasha's feeling the heat as well. She suffers her second point of
I
exhaustion.
mean, mine's a nat 1, but that's +6.
Yeah, so you would suffer a second point of exhaustion here as you feel your speed kind of goes sluggish as you're finding it difficult to walk.
We're almost there.
Are you saying that out?
Need
No.
a break.
Actually, yeah, I am gonna say it out loud. Are we almost there?
Not that much further.
good.
Alright. Is everybody okay with continuing on just a little bit further?
Not really. Sure.
I'll get down from the Horde's shoulders at this point.
I mean,
Proceeding on a little bit further,
Yeah.
you move for maybe 15 minutes or so. I would like you with 2 points of exhaustion here to make an athletics check, please, with disadvantage, Bhold.
+9.
Plus 9.
So 17.
How's
yes.
that plus 9?
My athletics is 9, apparently.
Oh, right, you have the +1. Oh, yeah. No, I remember why. Yeah, you have the +1. You manage to push forward, holding on with the rest of them, kind of maintaining your concentration as you move forward, and you eventually see another doorway, another archway, this one with, again, the similar statues in the alleyway.
Uh-oh. Okay. Well, kind of scared about this one, but I guess we head through.
You watch as a large shadow before you kind of ducks down and also seems to travel through this archway. The archway itself, by the way, is pretty big for this one. Compared to the previous one, which seemed to be more about 12 foot in size, this one seems to be about 30 foot height.
Okay.
Top of it is missing beyond the mist. You travel through?
Yeah. Keeping an eye on Elsyan to see what happens for him.
You travel
actually,
through. Go ahead.
I guess I could heal him. The spell.
Yeah, you can do if you want.
Uh,
Go ahead and roll
yeah,
a healing for that if you go ahead and if you want to do that.
Let me just. I forgot what the die was for cure wounds.
D8.
D8.
First level cure wounds. That heals him by 7. Bring up to 34. Okay. You walk through the gateway then, and as you enter in, you travel from this kind of miserable cold and damp to a warmer exterior. And as you step through the archway, you see now a beautiful land before you. You see levels to this, kind of almost like a basin. You've got the upper layer with what look to be rivers all travelling in and crashing in waterfalls as you can hear them off in the distance and relatively close by as well, as it crashes onto a second layer and then a third, the final one being a large pool of water at the bottom. Looking around, you can see a large, just circular canyon going all the way round. up above you can see again another one of like a similar glass dome over top. You can see rain striking the outside of it. You recognize this as a not so tiny hut.
Oh.
As you step into this place, with the rain and the wind stopped, you look out and you can see all across the various plateaus dragons, little ones, baby ones.
No.
Out there, quite a few of them playing. You can see various drakes as well, armored and all sat guard watching. Various colours: pinks, oranges, reds, greens, purples, black, white, all of the chromatic, along with all the metallics as well. Copper, brass, silver, gold, steel, or iron rather, stone, and I think I'm missing one, and brass.
Yeah.
And as you look around, you see a large stone dragon sat before you. You would know this, Malcom, to be an ancient stone dragon. It currently sits, no wings on its back, long tail sweeping behind it. It sits there, just staring at you all. And you are welcome to the Dragon Sanctuary.
Thank you.
You're all in awe at this location. You see a variety of dragon whelplings and just slightly older ones, younger dragons kind of look. They seem to be flying around. Most of them seem to be gathering meat as a few drakes kind of come in from other entrances and they seem to just pull up meat. You also see small coves, eggs, placed all around this location. And as this all takes place, you see a large form rise up from the pit below, before you see a large, ancient red dragon land on the surface of this new area. Malcom, I'd like you to roll me a insight into this.
Insight? Alright. That's with +4.
This is strange to you. This looks like Magmira, the Queen's dragon.
Whoa.
But as you begin to inspect it, this looks like a younger version. And it sits there and it stares. You see Sasha grip her weapon before you watch as the red dragon raises a talon and it says, "Do not worry, I am not here to harm you. None of you. So, Gravelsnout, these are the ones who Shatter has sent?" "Seems that way, yes. This one in particular." Pointing to you, Malcom.
Yes.
I never thought I'd see the day. And you watch as the ancient red dragon kind of draws close, and you watch as its form shrinks. And you watch as it shrinks into that of a tiefling, walking towards you. Red tiefling, pushed back horns, dark hair, carrying a staff with a dragon skull on the top of it. You see various beads and teeth hanging from it. A little bit of scruff around the chin as the individual walks closer to you. And kind of places his hand on your shoulder. She was right. You do look a lot like me.
Wait. Hold up. Didn't he say something about me looking like my grandfather?
He did.
What race is Malcom again?
Tiefling.
Oh.
I'm very confused.
I imagine you would be. Please, come. You are our guests. You can Stay as long as you need. Oh, you must be tired from your journey. I hope Dippy wasn't too hard on you.
Well, Dippy was actually pretty nice.
Oh. Well, if you... Feel free to rest. Yes. No. I'll take you to where you can rest up for the night. And you watch as he transforms back into a large red dragon, proceeding to place out a talon, almost.
Talon? Yes. Do think that is necessary.
You watch as he picks you up with his claw and places you on his back. And he kind of gestures to the rest of you as he lowers his head or places out his claw.
Once we get to a place where we can rest, I can explain the rest to you guys.
Wait, so you want us to get on top of him?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a
Gonna
ride.
take us to a place where we can rest.
Ooh.
Let's go then. This seems like a good idea.
Okay.
I told you, giant friends.
I'm gonna roll a wisdom saving throw for Sasha for this. Okay. She manages to hold her nerve, hold her own. And it being a red dragon, she holds her composure waiting for an explanation to this. She climbs on her own way and kind of sits on the back next to you all. I'd have a reason for this, Malcom.
Like I said, once we get to a place where we rest, I can explain it.
Okay. As you are there, he does a little bit of a walk before falling off the edge, going into an open glide with the open wings. Proceeding to be as gentle as possible, none of you have to make any checks for this, as he glides you down to what looks to be a cavern which leads underground. Proceeding to fly in, you see various lights and crystals hanging from the ceiling and illuminating the inside of here. You see various smaller dragons currently waltzing up and down the pathway into here. And eventually you reach what looks to be a stone house, carved out of the very rock itself. The exterior of it is fairly crude in nature, but nice nonetheless. There seem to be a few potted plants on the outside growing up the wall, a few creepers here and there. Looking at the rest of it, it seems to just be basic pane glass windows and a fairly standard wooden door. And as the individual reverts back to their dragon, or back to their tiefling form, they open the door and head inside. As they enter in, he snaps his fingers, and almost instantaneously all the candles in the room are lit. As he takes a few steps forward, he goes, "Well, if any of you need a rest, there are plenty of rooms. Pick for yourselves. I can see quite a few of you are exhausted. If you wish to spend a long time resting, you're welcome to do so."
Which one has the best bet?
Make a perception check with disadvantage.
4.
That one, and you walk in, you just collapse on the bed.
Yes.
You fall asleep. Not even taking anything off, you just slide onto the top of the bed halfway across it, head kind of grinding against the wall.
If you want, we can talk about what. If you want, we can talk about this now or after we rest, whichever you prefer.
I'd quite like to know what is going on, but resting first mightn't be a bad idea.
Alright. Sasha?
She kind of looks and goes, "I would like to know now."
Alright then. I'm
Very
going.
well.
Elsyan heads off to bed. Actually, no, he's unconscious. He doesn't get to know. He's just thrown on the bed. It's fine.
Yeah.
Basically just gonna explain what had happened when I collapsed.
Okay. You explained to the rest of the party that in your vision you experienced several piles of gold and gemstones, and out of one of them a crystal dragon stepped forth, began to speak to you, telling you to head to Dragon Sanctuary, an area you'd heard of before, the location where he now rests. That Dippy, his servant, would proceed to guide you there. That you would head there and you were to speak to Gravel Snout, and you were to tell him that he had sent you. That this was a place that you were told to go. You also knew that this was one of your suspected locations that you had objective to go to.
And
when you're hearing that, Sasha goes, I guess this red dragon isn't the one we're looking for then.
No, it's not.
I'm going to bed. And she gets up and just goes to bed.
That's understandable. Perhaps when we're more well rested, we can have a longer conversation about this.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll proceed to head to your rooms, I guess, then?
Yeah, let's get some sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before you leave, Malcolm, you're grabbed by the arm by the individual, and he's almost beaming with excitement, almost as if he wishes to tell you something.
Alright.
The rest of you go to sleep, and he kind of drags you over to the table and goes, How was your journey? I've been expecting you for a short while.
It was okay. Didn't run into any trouble on the way here.
That's good. I mean, and he's contacted me, said that you were coming. I was expecting it a little bit sooner, but that's fine. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about me.
Who?
My niece.
Wait, hold up. Are you? I can't remember her name. Can I roll whatever check it would be to see if I can remember what the tiefling's name was with the salamander?
It's not in your notes.
Is it in my notes?
I don't think she gave it to you.
I thought she did when I talked to her in the bar.
Oh, no, she did. Go ahead, make your roll.
Yeah.
I remember what it is now. Yeah, I was looking for it and I've just found it.
What's this roll on?
History.
History is... That's a 9.
Okay, no.
Hmm.
It's a little bit difficult to remember.
Does she usually travel with a salamander?
Well, quite a lot of us do, I think.
Oh wait, that's right. Can't remember. What's your niece's name?
Alacrity.
Do I recognize that as the name of the
You
individual?
do.
Oh yes, I remember her. She's the one that gave me this egg thing.
Which, by the way, has been going off rapidly.
It's been on my stats, so I thought I would notice as soon as it started.
It would have, yeah, but you were kind of preoccupied with Mist and Giant Stone Dragon. So
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Well, it was good that she got in contact with you and sent me here. What actually brought you here? I mean, the Baroness said that she'd do a favor and for Alacrity and send you here. Is that why you're here?
No, I mean, I had planned to come here when a white dragon had told me about this place, but...
Oh. So, you don't know who I am, then?
No. I don't. like I kind of explain how Shattercrest talked about air and all that type of stuff, and say that I don't know who my family is.
He kind of sits back in his chair. That is a lot to take in. You said it certainly makes sense. It was my sister ended up where you are.
Wait, what?
You really
Okay.
don't know who I am, do you?
No. Do I get any kind of like familiar the word
Familiarity, yes.
Yes,
Go
that
ahead
word.
and make an insight check.
Pretty sure I already get through this.
I pretty much guessed as well, but Malcolm doesn't. Let's see. Insight, that's 11.
They look familiar to you, almost like looking in a mirror. They look older than you, almost as if they are like you.
Alright. Well, I'm guessing from what Gravel Snout said, and from what I can see, I'm guessing you're my grandfather?
You watch as he almost like holds back a chuckle where he goes, no, not your
Okay,
grandfather.
then nope, I have no idea.
He places a hand on your cheek. You're my son.
Whoa.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, dip.
Oh.
Where are we relative to this?
You're all asleep. You don't get to know any of it. You're just staying here for relative convenience.
Your son? At this point, Malcolm's kind of like got this very confused look on his face, like, what?
I guess they wanted to make it a secret, huh?
Well, you see, Malcolm, when two Tiefling love each other very much.
Yes, I obviously left it for you to find out.
Who?
You see, your cousin, my niece, your cousin is the person you met with, and she is the heir currently.
Heir? The heir to what? This heir stuff makes no sense to me.
He pulls out, or you watch as he like pulls one of his hands forward and he kind of slides off a ring and places it in front of you. It's the royal crest to the Barren Lands.
Whoa. Hold up. Wait. You mean... like, the queen?
He nods slowly. That's my sister.
Whoa. Hold.
Yep, I expect that as much.
So... you're... Ururichi?
At least you know your father's name. It's touching. I guess no one ever told you who I was, though.
No. I mean, I was barely told anything. I was raised by centaurs.
They did well.
Wait, centaurs?
Yes.
After your mother died from childbirth, I was left alone with you. The Queen, fearing for your own safety, had me sent here to continue my work here. Said that one day that you would return once you were ready. She said that she would take care of you, and she would call you after our great-grandfather, Malcom.
Oh. Well, this... Malcolm's still trying to, like, put the pieces together. He's...
Still processing it, yeah.
Yeah.
You see, with how it is, traditionally in our family, the main line of the family will get one heir every 2 generations. Your auntie, the Queen of the Barren Lands, is the current generation's one. Knowing this, she knew I would be the one to bear the first heir of the next kingdom. That was you, my only heir. And where we run on royal Abishai bloodline, we inherit their draconic heritage, and from that, we are chosen as dragon riders.
So, is that what Shattercrest meant when he said that I was his chosen?
Indeed. Crystal dragon as fine as he. He died not 2 months ago. Now he is an egg. He lies within this very sanctuary, protected beneath the pool of regeneration.
Oh.
And there he will stay until he is ready to return.
I tell him the time that he said about how long he said he was going to be in said egg, I think.
I see. A few months. Or maybe. That is troubling. But he did leave one thing for you.
He did?
He said to give it to you and perform the first ceremony. And you watch as he kind of reaches into inside of his kind of his general overclothes and pulls out what looks to be a scale of crystal, glimmering and shining, partially transparent. And he places it on the table. With this, we'll be able to make you your first drake.
Drake?
Like the ones outside.
Oh. I see.
Anyway. Enough for now. We'll do all that in the morning. Rest up, and it was good seeing you. The first time since your birth. I've grown so much. I'm proud of you. To have come this far. To know that you're the new heir. He kind of reaches up, still a little bit taller than you. He ruffles your hair. One day you'll be an old sod like me. That's something to look forward to. Good night. And he picks up one of the candles and leaves, leaving the crystal scale on the table.
Wait, did he take the ring back too?
Yeah.
Okay, I can check. I take the scale and I guess I go to my room.
Okay. You go to your room and you rest. Everybody recovers from 1 point of exhaustion. And you wake up the following morning. Elsyan doesn't know where he is, and he has just stayed put in his room waiting for anybody to come in. You rest up, you wake up to the smell of breakfast being cooked. And that's where we will end our session today.
Perfect.
There we are. So, thank you all for watching on the YouTube side and the Twitch side. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to come back next week when this story unravels itself ever so slightly further. And hopefully we will have our other members of our party back by then. So, thank you, and good night. And be sure to check out Thursday, where the plot there also thickens. Goodbye.